Hello and welcome to Frame by Frame Animation. This is going to be an exercise that deals with Animate in a totally different way. We're going to be using these concepts that we have here in this frame by frame animation later when we deal with movie clips. And this is going to become sort of the basis from which you sort of, again, use these concepts later. This is a more straightforward and traditional way of animating, which is considered frame by frame. If you think about something like claymation, where we have to sort of change the sort of fundamental physical setup of something and then photograph it, and then via sort of playing those frames back quickly, we sort of see and sort of render movement. We're going to be doing that sort of in a digital way here, and we're going to be doing it in the timeline, and we're also going to be doing it directly on the scene. It's not going to necessarily we're not going to deal with the library. We're simply going to deal with sort of drawing something on the actual scene here. So I'm going to sort of go through all these steps, and they are sort of very specific. And the reason they're very, very specific is because we want something to look quite smooth. We want it to look natural, and the steps that sort of outline how this is done are going to sort of achieve that. Again, you guys are going to hopefully use this as a general concept later when dealing with, as I mentioned, something like a movie clip. So let's head into this. I've already gone up to step 4, so I'm going to choose the brush tool. So we have the brush tool over here. This is sort of a drawing tool. Remember, we're dealing with vector graphics, so we can quickly render and sort of draw things. It says set the stroke color to none. That's already set. And then it says choose, and the fill color to black. So I'm going to go over here and set the fill color to black. It says choose a mid-sized brush at the bottom of the toolbox. Again, yours might look a little bit different. I'm going to choose, yeah, that's about right, a mid-sized brush. Now, we are sort of, just by definition, on this first blank keyframe of layer 1. Okay, so that's sort of where we need to sort of start this. It says draw a stick figure face and torso directly on the stage while leaving room for arms and legs. This is going to make sense in a second, why we're leaving the arms and legs off. In the end, we're ending up with a little guy doing a jumping jack. So we're just going to draw the face. Okay. He's happy. He's doing a jumping jack. And we're just going to draw the torso. Okay. Yours isn't going to look exactly like that, but we want something that looks about like this. Okay. Now, what we're doing is we're sort of setting up for the fact that later we're going to sort of add the sort of steps of this jumping jack in a particular keyframes. And you're going to sort of see the ebb and flow of how we sort of set this up. Frames, I think it's going to be through 25 in order to sort of get this motion. Okay. A word about sort of frame by frame animation. When you do this later in the semester, think about what is necessary. How many sort of steps, and in this case to a jumping jack, are sort of necessary to sort of show that that is happening. I see a lot of students that don't do enough, meaning they make their jumping jack 2 steps, meaning sort of top of the jumping jack and bottom of the jumping jack. And I see students that do too much. They have 28 steps to their jumping jack. That might not be necessary. So think about the visual aspects of this and what is necessary. Okay, so we have gotten to step 8. It says insert a keyframe via control click at frames 5, 10, and 15. Not a blank keyframe, but a keyframe. Okay, so I'm going to go here, and remember we can do this 2 different ways. We can go into insert timeline keyframe. In the last video, I sort of talked about that control click. So I'm adding a keyframe to 5, 10, and 15. And what I'm doing is sort of moving over this sort of portion that we've drawn. We always know that within a jumping jack we're going to have a head and a torso. The positioning of the legs and the arms is going to be different, but for now we're simply going to sort of set up the basics. Okay, so we have not a blank keyframe, but a keyframe. The setting up the actual sort of keyframe and not a blank keyframe moves over this stuff. Okay, now it says click on the frame number 1 where there should be a keyframe. And it says choose your brush tool and draw the arms and legs in a standing position. Okay, so this is the beginning of the jumping jack. We got our guy, he's just chilling out. Okay, pretty straightforward. Next it says click on frame number 5 where there should be a keyframe and choose your brush tool and draw the arms and legs midway up the body. There's going to be 4 steps up to the top of the jumping jack. Okay, so think about how far, and you can sort of see, okay, I went and I'm moving the playhead. My positioning is down. On the next step I'm going to sort of slightly move everything out. Okay. See how that sort of fits in. Okay, he's starting. Next it says repeat, sorry, it says repeat for keyframes 10 and 15 with frame 15 ending with the arms up above and outstretched. Okay, so frame 10, we're like getting there. Okay, legs a little bit wider maybe. You can sort of check on your last one to see if you've done that. And then on frame 15, we are, yay, we've made it all the way to the top of a jumping jack. And I'm not being horribly artistic about this jumping jack, but we sort of get the idea. Okay? Now, we've gone up to the jumping jack, and we need to sort of go back down. What I'm going to do is sort of work efficiently and sort of use what I've done in order to sort of complete the rest of the jumping jack. Why draw the sort of down states or the midway down states of the jumping jack when we've already done so? Okay, so that's what these next steps do. So step 14, it says go to frame 20, and this time we're going to insert a blank keyframe. Okay, remember you can do that up here under timeline, or you can control click or right click on that frame 20. So we're inserting a blank keyframe. Now we're going to learn a concept here, a simple copy and paste, and we're going to sort of make sure we get it accurately. Now the jumping jack has gone up, we're outstretched. The next step is basically going to be our frame 10 all the way down. So I'm going to click, I'm on that frame 20, and I'm going to, I've already in step 14, I've already inserted that blank keyframe. It says click on frame 10, and then it says choose edit select all. Okay, we've selected everything, meaning, and you can sort of see the dot pattern there, and it says edit copy. Go to frame 20, which should make the stage appear blank, and choose edit paste in place. It's very important we choose paste in place and not just a regular paste or paste in center, because we're sort of positioning him exactly where we want him. Okay, so we can sort of see what's happening here. Up, up, all the way to the top and back down. Okay, now we need to sort of smoothly transition all the way down. So it says go to frame, and I'm on step 19 here. Go to frame 25, and we're going to insert a blank keyframe. What that has done is basically made it so we have 5 frames here. I've basically chosen 5 frames as a decent amount of time where we can sort of see the stages of this. So I've inserted a blank keyframe at stage 25. Now I need to do the exact same thing. Now I need to go to the sort of almost all the way down portion. I'm going to, on step 21, choose select all. I'm going to edit copy. And it says go to frame 25, which makes the stage appear blank. And I am going to paste in place. Okay, if we think about a jumping jack, and if we think about how Animate works, you should note that when the playhead gets here, it's going to go all the way back to here. So we can basically just extend this last stage a few frames, knowing that it's going to go directly back to sort of stage 1, and if we or frame 1. And if we think about a jumping jack, he's going to sort of sit there for a second and then start this all over again. So all I'm going to do is go to frame 30, and I'm going to insert a keyframe. We don't want a blank keyframe, we want an actual keyframe, because if it was blank, we'd have sort of a flash. If you ever have anything flashing, meaning that the screen is blank for just a tiny second, go back and look and see. You might have a blank keyframe somewhere. You might have a frame that's just simply missing. And you can sort of run your playhead and sort of see where that is. Okay, so let's think about this before we test it. This is running through. It's going up, going up, going down. He's almost down, and when we make the swift, we're going to sort of see it go back all the way to the end. Okay, I've already saved this, so I'm not going to go over that again. Let's go to testing it. I'm going to test in Animate, and here we have a funny looking but fairly smooth jumping jack. Okay, if you want to add their hair flying up while they're doing it, if you want to add a little more depth to our jumping jack, feel free to. His legs look a little funny. He looks like he's dancing as much as he's doing a jumping jack, but you get the idea. This is what's considered frame by frame animation. I've showed you a very, very simple version. If you want to go back and say, yeah, I don't want his legs to look like they're dancing and wavy, you can simply sort of click on this, use eraser tools, and sort of redraw our particular portions. But all I'm looking for is this very, very simple running through of the frame by frame animation. Questions, concerns, email me. Remember, you have 2 exercises this week. You have your simple properties, which hopefully you've already watched. You have frame by frame here, and you also have the animation viewing critique of the street. Next week, we're going to get into more complicated stuff that's going to set us up for our first project. So again, email me with questions and or concerns, and I will get back to you as soon as I can.